Those of you who follow me on my YouTube channel may realize that when I gave my annual address in June, my man-made camera is stopped just as I was giving my address. So today I decided for those of you who would like to hear my address, I'm going to do a repeat of just the address today. Coming from our theme, Christian women enjoying our daily supplement of the fruit of the Spirit, I will be speaking to you briefly from a topic, fruit for the soul. We are all familiar with fruits such as bananas, oranges, mangoes, and grapes, which we have always been told are good for our physical bodies. Although they are good for us to eat, some of us may not like them. I, myself, don't like strawberries. However, today I'm going to speak briefly on the types of fruit that if we are children of God, these fruits should be a part of our lives. They are called the fruit of the Spirit, which feeds our spiritual body. We all know that the first fruit of the Spirit is love. We can find the ultimate act of love in John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. In return, he asks that we love one another. Love, we know, is an action word. It is good to say we love someone, but it is better to show it as well. For the last several months, I've experienced a show of love an aunt has for her nephew. This aunt, who is also his godmother, works 5 days a week dealing with children in a school setting, and at the end of the day on Fridays, she leaves work and goes to her nephew's apartment and assists him with whatever he needs her to do. That is showing someone how much you love them as well as telling them. It warms my heart to say that aunt is my baby sister Zimmy, and that nephew is my son Brian. Not only is she showing love for him, but she is showing love for me as a sister. I know it may be easy for us to show love to our family members or friends, but what about that brother or sister you see in the street that may need a helping hand? One who is holding a sign that reads, "I am hungry and will work for food." Will you be able to show them the love of God? You may say, they're just going to take the money to buy drugs or alcohol. But I heard someone say one day that your blessing comes from your intentions, not the intentions of others. If you give from the heart, you have done what is required of you. As it is stated in Matthew the 25th chapter and the 40th verse, "And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me." The second fruit of the Spirit is joy. Sometimes it may be hard for us to be joyful, depending on the situation. As it is stated in Nehemiah 8:10, "For the joy of the Lord is your strength." Let's take Joseph, for example. He was joyful despite being put through several trials throughout his life, from being sold into slavery by his brothers, Genesis 31 and 28, to being thrown in jail for something he didn't do, Genesis 39 and 26. He did not lose his faith in the Lord and took joy in the blessings he received. When we lose a loved one, when we lose our job, and when things are just not going right, Psalm, the 30th chapter and the 5th verse lets us know that, "For his anger endureth but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." The third fruit of the Spirit is peace. Peace is a stress-free state of security and calmness. In Acts, the 16th chapter and the 23rd verse, Paul and Silas was at peace when they were cast into prison because they knew that the God they served would hear and answer their prayers. When we have a peace of mind, we can rest better, we can think better, and we can serve God better. The fourth fruit of the Spirit is forbearance. Forbearance is an aspect of forgiveness. Matthew 16 and 14 states, "If you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father also will forgive you." It is amazing how sometimes as Christians we can hold a grudge and never forgive our brothers and sisters, but we expect God to forgive us. We know that to be forgiven, we must be able to forgive. The fifth fruit of the Spirit is kindness. Kindness should be one of the easiest spirits to show toward our brothers and sisters, but sometimes it seems to be the hardest. We don't know what someone may be going through at the time, but you come along with a kind word, smile, or deed, and it could make a difference in that person's life. As stated in Luke 6 and 31, "And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise." The sixth fruit of the Spirit is goodness. Sometimes it is thought that kindness and goodness are the same. However, goodness is an eternal quality we develop through our relationship with God. Kindness, as I spoke of, is an expression of goodness, a way we show love to others. And it is stated in Romans 12 and 21, "Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good." The seventh fruit of the Spirit is faithfulness. Faithfulness comes from a place of trust and loyalty. As it is stated in Hebrews 11 and 1, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." As Christians, it is important to be faithful to God. It is one thing to believe in Him, but it's another thing to be faithful to Him. The eighth fruit of the Spirit is gentleness. Gentleness is a quality of being kind and careful. When you pick up a newborn baby, you gently lift him or her while holding their head carefully. When it comes to a person's feelings, we should be just as careful and kind when it comes to how we treat or speak to them. When you hurt someone's feelings, whether intentionally or not, sometimes it's hard to come back from that. So let's get in the practice of being gentle when we interact with our brothers and sisters. The ninth and final fruit of the Spirit is self-control. The key word in this fruit is self. We must examine ourselves at all times. No one can control you but you. We can't always say or do everything that comes to our minds. You may say that is easier said than done if someone comes at you in the wrong way. That is why it is important for us to practice self-control and pray daily, because it is Satan's job to use others to take us out of the will of God. Coming back with a negative reaction to that individual will do that. Remember, 1 Peter, the 5th chapter and 8th verse tells us to be sober, be diligent, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Believe it or not, sometimes he uses our family and friends. Sometimes jealousy may come in, and they may do things to push our buttons just to see how much religion you may have. Self-control is most important, because once you do a thing or say a thing, it's hard to take it back. You may notice that some of these fruit of the Spirit are similar, but each of them have their own importance in our lives. It is important that we make every effort to make each of them a part of our everyday living. In closing, we are familiar with the saying, "An apple a day will keep the doctor away." But I want to leave this saying with you: doing good deeds and a prayer or two a day will keep blessings coming your way. To God be the glory.